YouTubians, Tubulicious, Tubical, YouTube. I really wanted to share with you my experience of my first radio interview. So a little bit of a backstory. I went to high school in Athens, Ohio, and one of the things that we all did, like, consistently was listen to the radio, because everybody had really cheap cars, and that's pretty much all we had, you know. Some of us had broken CD players or cassette players, but for the most part, we just tuned into the local radio station, which was Power 105. And a couple of weeks ago, I reached out to Power 105, Paul Holden, who's a really nice guy, asked if he wanted to set up an interview and we could talk about full moon. And he said that was a great idea, and so we scheduled the time. When I found out that it was actually going to happen, that's like when I started to feel kind of nervous. I was like, oh, so exciting, but what am I going to say? What do I even talk about, you know? This is really the first time I've ever had to pitch a song. What do you even talk about, and like, why do you even like that song? Full Moon is one of those songs that I wrote at the very beginning of writing full songs. And I didn't even know how to play guitar yet when I wrote Full Moon. So Full Moon was also one of the first songs that I had ever written with guitar parts. So I have a really special relationship with it. It was one of my favorite songs. I couldn't stop singing it. I felt obsessed with it. I love the way that it flowed. I love the imagery in it. It felt very folky to me, and also it feels really, really jazzy to me. So I love that tone. One of the questions that Paul asked me was, what's the story, you know, behind the song? And I was like, oh, dang, what is the story behind that song? You know, like, how did I write it? And it brought me back to the moment where I was actually just asleep. Woke up on the ship, 4 a.m., and there was a song. There was some parts that I was, like, talking about, like, a clock and, you know, kind of trying to make it a little bit more pop than it turned out to be. Those kinds of things kind of slowly just got edited out the more that I played it. The chords are so simple to that song, you know. It's pretty much 4 chords, nothing complex at all. It was so fun to talk about it with them, and I was nervous, man. I was so nervous about the interview. The main thing that I was nervous about was remembering what to say. Blacking out after he asks a question and being like, that's a really good question. Can you repeat the question? Because I don't remember what you just said. I have to answer with some kind of intelligence, I hope, or I gotta try. There were moments where I know I went off a little bit on a tangent, and I talked about marine biology probably more than I should have. But at the same time, you know, that's been a huge factor in writing music for me, because I'm offshore for such a lengthy amount of time. So of course I'm writing songs while I'm out there. The whole thing took like 30 minutes, and Paul's really professional, so he asks all of the questions in like this really organized, structured, timely manner, and then gave me the space to say whatever I was feeling, however I interpreted how to answer the question that he had just asked me. After probably like 10 minutes of being really nervous, like, I could tell my voice was tight and it was shaky, and I was trying to sound impressive. I decided to just, you know, my body started to relax. I made the conscious choice and just enjoyed talking to Paul, even though it felt like a pretty formal setting. It felt so good just to dig in a little bit, not trying to sound any more intelligent than I am or any more complex than I really am, because everybody's really complex. But also, when you're doing something like that, you want to try and to be relatable and as descriptive in congruence with your emotions as possible. And that was such a cool challenge for me. I really enjoyed that. I think I did a little bit better than I was maybe expecting to. It did help me, the fact that I was over the phone radio. I think I would have been a lot more nervous if it had been like an in-person thing, or oh my gosh, or if like I had to play live. When that happens, that's gonna be scary for me. I'm gonna be nervous about that one. But it was fantastic. It was brief. It was really easy. I enjoyed pretty much every single moment of it. I can't wait to share it with you. Yeah, this journey has been taking me pretty much just baby steps. Every step of the way has been just brilliantly graceful. I'm understanding more and more how to build the courage of just reaching out to the industry and who to reach out to before you reach out to others. There's definitely some kind of a hierarchy in reaching out to industry entities like radios or blogs or magazines, those kinds of things. And also I'm learning that you really have to have a story that goes along with it. You can't just be like, please like my songs. You have to actually be the story. And I'm learning how to love it. And at first that was really intimidating for me because it's not something that I felt so comfortable with. I think in my dream world I was just hoping for somebody to just happen upon the songs and be like, this girl's brilliant, let's not ask her any questions, let's just hook her up with a deal and get her out there and get her songs on the radio. Nobody has to see her. Yeah, no, it's not like that. I'm learning as I go, but I'm heading to the East Coast to do some marine biology work, and so the next couple of videos I am going to be on a ship once again, so you will see this hat consistently for the next few weeks. If you're a musician like I am and you're just kind of probing around, exploring the world of being an independent artist, it's a really helpful idea to reach out to some local radio shows. It helps them because they're looking for people to represent, new music. They want new music all the time, especially shows that are geared for discovering. Likely they'll want to have a moment to talk with you. What I did was I just did a little bit of research beforehand, figuring out a good template for a cold email to send them as kind of like a press kit, if you will, but just for a single. It wasn't complicated. I was definitely nervous about it, but once I heard back, he really reassured me that it's not as scary of a leap as one may think. The first step is just to reach out, and then the second step is to reach out again and again and again and again until you feel comfortable with it. I know that the radio is getting a little bit more retro side now, but it is a good way for people just passing through a station just by chance hearing you, and just by that chance of hearing you being curious who you are. I mean, that's actually cool. It's actually free advertisement. I highly recommend, if you're independent and you're like me and you're just learning how to grow, reach out to a local radio station, see if you can't get a little interview. It's really fun. It feels really rewarding. I wish you the best of luck. Maybe let me know how it is, because it's a cool experience. Okay, I'll see you guys out on the water next week. Be safe. It's still really weird out there. I mean, be really safe in many ways. Watch out for one another and keep a good eye out for your health and for your safety. Alrighty, creature beans. I will talk to you next Monday.